Okay, people, so this is June 4th, 2018. I think it's important for Shamay's story to be told here, people. Because when she was live, she used to sit up here with me, people. Scared. Scared of the threats that were coming in from the father of her baby. He used to threaten her when she was pregnant. Well, he threatened me a lot. Burn my house down, smash out all my windows. He wanted to have us all go outside so he could either shoot us or beat us up or do something with us. Smash TVs, broke the freaking door, punch holes in walls, flip furniture. And she used to hide up here. Right? And then he'd get mad. That's what would happen. He'd get mad. And that's why he would threaten me all the time, people, because he would get mad that I was protecting her. Right? He'd come up, scream at my door, run down, do a bunch of crazy shit, and take off. Anyway, on my Facebook wall, I have an article there that talks about ex-lovers and that type of thing murdering the other person, right, that they had an affair with. And sometimes families are involved. Well, let me tell you something, people. When Shamay broke up with her boyfriend before she met this other dude, Julian, right? She broke up with him in 2015. It was like in the middle of 2015. And then, I don't know, somehow she met Julian, and then Julian's sister attached herself to Shamay's old boyfriend. Don't ask me how that one worked. Personally, I think the sister has some sort of weird obsession with her brother. I really do. And I think there's more than meets the eye, because when Shamay had the baby, right? The sisters, my two daughters, were going to change rooms and let Shamay have the larger room, and Tisha was going to go into the smaller room. So there was needing some time to turn, to move furniture around and everything. And I was going to have Shamay come upstairs for a month or two to let her, to help her with the baby, right? And the only thing I asked was for not to have these people in my living space. But Shamay pleaded with me to have Julian's sister, be allowed to come during the day and see the baby in the bedroom and whatnot. And I said, yeah, okay. I told her if she really wanted to have Julian come by and see the baby, because they wanted to see the baby, people, I said she could take the baby downstairs and they could visit in the living room. But that wasn't the agenda of those people, because the minute Shamay was upstairs, they started coming to my house, people, at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, running around in my house knowing that I'd be sleeping. That went on for a few days. Finally, I said, Shamay, it's not going to work. You need to go back downstairs. But because the rooms hadn't been changed over, the sister and Julian badgered Shamay to go stay at Julian's mother's house, because that's where Julian was living with his sister while the rooms were being changed. So this was all in the first week of the baby being born. So baby be born in the hospital. Shamay is crying in the hospital because this guy doesn't want to turn his life around. He's just acting like an idiot, upsetting her. He upset her throughout her whole pregnancy. Like I said, she used to sit up here and we'd lock everything up, close the freaking curtains, and he'd be raging around making all these threats. Right? And eventually he'd just go away after breaking things. So anyway, she has the baby. You know, she's crying in the hospital because, you know, he's being a dickhead or whatever. You know, she comes home, they're bum rushing her to see the baby. You know, they're not wanting to respect the house rules in terms of coming at a reasonable hour, like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No, instead they want to come at 3 o'clock in the morning and running around in my house, right? And then knowing that I'll get pissed off, because that's why they did it, people, because they knew I would get pissed off. And once I said, Shemaine, I can't have this happen, then they said, oh, you know, just bring the baby to my mother's house for the week while you're changing the rooms around. Shemaine said, okay, we'll try that. So she goes with the baby, and within not even 2 days or something like that, people, 2 or 3 days, this is what happened at the mother's house. And I am documenting this, people, okay? Because just like Shemaine and I used to sit in here in fear, I am still sitting in my own house in fear. And the more I think about it, I'm fearful of this whole family. Because this whole family, well, there's really only 3 of them in there, whatever they've got going on, their sidekicks, I don't know, right? But the 3 of them mainly, the mother, the Julian, and the sister, right? You know, within the first day or 2, you know, they started badgering Shemaine to fill out Amari's birth certificate online. And Shemaine, you know, Julian wanted his last name on it. Shemaine wanted her last name on it. But they caused a kerfuffle as it was being filled out online. Julian picked a fight. Shemaine got distracted. And then, click, it was posted to the federal government. And guess what? Amari only has Julian's last name because they removed Shemaine's last name, picked a fight so she couldn't see what they were doing, and then posted it. So when the birth certificates came and she opened them up, she was like, oh my God. And from that time forward, she's been asking him to fill out another form to add her name on it whenever she could catch up to him to discuss those things. And he was being a real dickhead about it and refused to do it. It got to the point where she was going to take it in front of a judge and tell the judge that Julian was a dope dealer and that she didn't want anything to do with him and that she wanted her last name on the birth certificate for Amari. This is what she used to tell me upstairs. And it was getting close to where she was going to go to court and have her name put on to the birth certificate through a judge because Julian refused to do it, even though she pleaded with him on several occasions. So, anyway, that's what happened within the first or second day of Shemaine going to Julian's mother's house. Right? As everybody, the mother, the sister, and Julian are instigating this to happen. Because, again, they picked a fight. When Shemaine got distracted, somebody pushed the button, it got uploaded, and it was done. Because I'm telling you, people, I'm going to post this link to this article where when people murder people, sometimes families are involved. And I'm starting to think that maybe, you know, what happened to Shemaine might be from the onset of what happened, like in terms of Amari being born. They were plotting and scheming to take the baby away from Shemaine from the very beginning, right? I mean, it was bad enough that the sister hooked up with the old boyfriend and then rubbed it in Shimei's face to where Shimei had no relationship with the girl. Shimei tried to be friends with the girl, but eventually they just couldn't talk, right? Because she was stealing her cell phone and, you know, just causing trouble. And then into the third day, second or third day of Shimei staying at the mother's house, right? Julian started to manhandle Shimei for whatever reason. I don't know. I can't remember. And Shimei didn't like it, like manhandle, right? And she got scared and she went upstairs to go pack her belongings. But something happened and instead she went back down the stairs and she went into the living room to go get the baby. And the sister was standing there holding the baby, telling the mother to call so-and-so to come and get her and the baby because she was going to leave with the baby. So they were going to kidnap the baby, people. Julian manhandled Shimei, so Shimei felt she had to go pack up her stuff, but instead she turned around and went back down the stairs and went to go get the baby first. And when she went to go get the baby, that's when she found out that they were making phone calls to have somebody come pick up the sister with the baby so that the sister could run out with the baby. And the mother is enabling this to happen, people. You know what Shimei did? She took the baby and left. She left all her stuff behind and just called a taxi and immediately left. And while she was there for those 2 or 3 days, 4 days, or whatever it was, they started badgering her to pay rent, even though she wasn't moving in, because they knew she was switching over rooms with her sister so that she would get the bigger room. But they were badgering her for rent. So not only were they badgering her for rent, but they were falsifying the federal birth certificate information and picked a fight with her, so she got distracted, so they pushed the button so it got uploaded, so her name never got onto the birth certificate. And then Julian started manhandling her as a distraction so the sister could go grab the baby and go tell mom to call somebody to go pick up her and the baby so that she could leave with the baby. And then fast track 7 months, people. My daughter's dead. And in those 7 months, Shimei had no relationship with the sister, right? She tried in the first month or so, but it didn't work out because obviously the sister tried to kidnap the baby and wouldn't give back Shimei's phone because she left her phone, she left all her stuff. And eventually the mother brought it back about a week later. And when she brought it back, she had a big pole up her ass, big fucking attitude, because she's, she works, this is where she works, people. She works in a prenatal clinic. In a prenatal clinic. Working with pregnant women every day as a receptionist. So she's so much better than me. When I first met her, she was... Well, yeah, because she was thinking about how to get the baby away. This is when Shimei was pregnant. Actually, no, this was after Shimei had the baby and she came to pick her up for that week that she was going to stay at her mother's house, right? At Julian's mother's house. That's when I first met her, and she had a huge fucking attitude. Huge. Never met the woman in my life. And her attitude was fucking huge. I couldn't understand it. I could not understand it. Hold on a minute. Yeah, huge fucking attitude. But whatever. Right? And then after Shimei came home from that bullshit, that woman ended up bringing Shimei's stuff back about a week later and just dropped off and took off. And Shimei never talked to her again until about 2 weeks before she died. because my younger daughter goes to the clinic where this woman works. And because she went to the clinic where this woman works, the woman asked Tisha if she could see the baby. So Tisha relayed the message to Shimei, and then Shimei tried to outreach, did go to the mother's house 2 weeks or so before she died, right? But felt very uncomfortable with the woman and told Julian she didn't want to go back to his mother's house without him because she felt that uncomfortable with that woman. And this is somebody that works with pregnant women, people. And then my daughter ends up dead 2 days later. Okay? I'm sorry, 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later. Right? So, there is some truth to this family's murder, people. And it's not just one. It's the family. Because the motive is the baby, people. Right? The mother is protecting the son. And so is the sister protecting her brother. And they were showing signs of premeditated something within the first week of that baby being born. Because, again, they tricked Shimei into falsifying a federal document so that only the father's last name is on the birth certificate. And then they picked a fight with a distraction so that the sister could have the mom call so-and-so to go pick up the sister so that the sister can run off with the baby. Where Shimei just ended up getting the baby, called a taxi, and left everything behind, including her phone, which she never got back because the sister stole it and wouldn't give it back. Right? Mother doesn't phone Shimei, doesn't text her, doesn't come by and, oh, can I take you for lunch? Can we go sit in a park? Nothing for 6 months. Nothing. It took my younger daughter to go to some prenatal clinic in order to run into her for Shimei to finally, okay. But even then, Shimei couldn't go back on her own because that woman made her feel so uncomfortable. And then 2 weeks later, my daughter is dead. Do you see it? 2 weeks later, my daughter is dead after seeing the mother. As she works in a prenatal clinic for pregnant women, protecting her son, who she knows is something wrong with him. But she's so much better because she has green garb. She comes to court with green garb. Her green work outfit because she had to take work off to go to court to support her son. The day after Shimei died, April 11th, people, this guy was texting Tisha that he was coming to get the baby. He showed up with his mother. And when he couldn't get the baby, he went into Shimei's room and took a TV that had been sitting there for over 1.5 years, as if he knew Shimei was dead. And that's because he did know Shimei was dead. He knew Shimei wasn't coming back. That's why he took the TV. And the PlayStation. And he put back her phone. Because at one point, her phone had disappeared. But suddenly reappeared after he left. With his mother. This is what I'm up against, people. And he's walking free. You know what his idea? You know what his idea of doing something for the baby? Going to go get boosters to go steal diapers from a fucking grocery store. And then he gave it to Shimei. He never paid for them. He just paid somebody to go steal them. Once in a blue moon, so he could say he did something for the baby. As he badgered and tormented my daughter and made threats on her. And his mother wants to coddle him as she works with pregnant women. Well, this woman can protect him, but I'm not, people. I am not protecting this asshole. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention too, when Shimei went into the hospital and was hooked up to those machines, all of a sudden those people came out of the woodwork. When I showed up at 9 o'clock that night, people, they were going to camp out in her room and hold her hand because they were so in love with Shimei all of a sudden after 7 months, regardless of the bullshit that I just told you about. That mother had 6.5 months to do outreach with Shimei while Shimei was alive. Nothing stopped that woman from coming to this house and inviting Shimei out for lunch or taking her and the baby to the park. Nothing. She had a vehicle, right? She had weekends off. No, instead, she sat at home and she festered. Right? And obviously she had a bad attitude for Shimei not wanting to go back without Julian because she felt so uncomfortable with that woman. So what made that woman think that she had the right to sit at that hospital after her son did what he did to my daughter just because she thought that if she was there for the night, she could be a grandma to a child that she never, not once, did any kind of outreach with on her own time. She sits behind a desk dealing with pregnant women coming in, and it just so happened one of them was my daughter. So she's like a fucking predator. She's obviously not woman enough to be a grandmother to say, oh, gee, Shimei, don't worry about what's going on with Julian. This is between you and me. We can have a relationship, but that's not what she wanted, people. No. She was making a phone call so the sister could run out with the baby the first week the baby was born. And it took her a week to bring back Shimei's stuff. And again, the sister stole the cell phone. Never got it back. But yet the sister is at the hospital the day Shimei dies, wanting to sit up in her hospital room all night long, crying over Shimei. As she's been fucking Shimei's old boyfriend for the last 2 years, rubbing it in Shimei's face, talking on Shimei's phone that she never gave back. Damn rights I asked the hospital not to have those people in there. But the hospital plays games too, right? Because Shimei was on display. It was never about right. It was always about wrong. Right? They didn't care about Shimei. All they care about is their $1 million fucking budget to hook up dead bodies and to torment families. I told the social workers. I told them exactly what the hell was going on with those people. That's why my son went. Because my son was with me. Before that shit happened with letting Julian back in, behind our back. My son was with me when I told those social workers what those people were doing, what they had done, who they were and what they were about, and what happened to my daughter. By whom? And they completely ignored it. Because The woman's in green garbs, and she works with pregnant women. So therefore, she's got seniority. Even though she's got a big pole stuck up her black fucking ass. There was no love for Shimei. You don't trick people with birth certificates. You don't manhandle women that had a C-section not even 4 days after the baby was born, just so that you can run out the door with the baby and take it from the mother. You don't ignore the mother for 6.5 months, and then when you do see her, all of a sudden the mother dies 2 weeks later, and then you love the dead body? Is that it? You love the dead body? And then show up the next day with your son, thinking you're gonna get the baby? But settle for a fucking TV that's been sitting in my daughter's room for over 1.5 years and a PlayStation? Because the guy knew my daughter was dead. So if he was gonna get TV, he better get it then. Because he wasn't gonna get it after that, because that was the last time he was going in that fucking bedroom. And he wasn't even supposed to be in the bedroom. He snuck his ass in. Just like he snuck his ass out. And then disappeared. Well, whoever's paying for his lawyer, well, I mean, it could be dope money, right? His mother didn't seem to mind. Or maybe the mother's paying for it. Who knows? Who cares? I just want to document it. There, for that loving family. Huh? You show up at my daughter's bedside after she's been murdered, and you want to sit up there and cover that shit up? I don't think so. Not gonna fucking happen. It's not gonna fucking happen.